What is happening, investors? It is your boy Jack. I am not a financial advisor, and today we're going to be speaking all about whether or not I believe it is too late to get involved in these airline stocks. I don't think it's any joke that I am a massive bull on airlines. My biggest position in my portfolio is currently in Delta, but I want to make sure that everybody is fully aware of the risks that are involved in buying these airline stocks, because they are a high risk category. You know, these aren't safe stocks, these aren't dividend kings or dividend aristocrats or consumer staple stocks. These are high risk airline companies. So my main goal for today is to show you all the risks that are associated with airline stocks. As of right now, airline stocks are in an amazing position. I mean, American Airlines went up nearly 100% last week at one stage, 100% in 1 week, and pretty much every other big US airline followed suit and made a massive move to the upside. And things are looking very good yet again today. Pre-market, pretty much every airline is up some amount, obviously some more than others. What I really want to do today is get across what I believe could happen going forwards in airlines, what their barriers are right now, you know, how long I think it will be before we see full recoveries, what needs to happen before airlines can start to, you know, reach new all-time highs. I'm just really aware of the fact that I am always talking about Delta. I'm very bullish on them, and I don't want you guys to go blindly buy them without being aware of the facts and the risks. But oh my goodness, guys, yesterday, okay, we hit over 6,000 subs, and you know what else we did yesterday? We hit nearly 6,300 subs. I mean, you guys are crazy. We went up over 300 subs yesterday. Yesterday's video got over 400 likes in well less than a day. It's nuts. The support lately has been absolutely insane. I am so appreciative of every single one of you. The road to 10,000 is well and truly on. The goal was before the end of July. We are so on track. So what I'm going to ask you, please subscribe if you're new around here. Join the family. We are on this insane journey together. And please smash that like button. Let's see, can we hit 400 likes again? You know, again. If we can, it's going to be absolutely crazy, but genuinely, I love and appreciate you all so much for the support lately. And lastly, please drop me a comment down below. Let me know what you think of airline stocks, if you're in them, why you are, why you're not, and if you are in them, how much you've made or lost so far, because I bet there's some juicy numbers and you are just dying to let us all know. So with all of that being said, let's get straight into the video, people. Let's get at it. So there's going to be 3 companies I'm going to speak about today primarily, okay? That's going to be American Airlines, because a lot of people are speaking about these guys after the fact they went up very close to 100% in a matter of less than a week. Delta Airlines, because they're the biggest position in my portfolio and the company that I personally love the most. And Southwest Airlines, because they're the other airline company that I do indeed own, and they're more than likely deemed to be the safer bet by an awful lot of people. They don't move as much. The very first thing I want to speak about today is something called a break-even load factor, okay? And this is essentially how full a plane has to be for each one of these companies to make any money, just to break even. So first of all, we can see that American Airlines are in the worst position. They need their plane to be 78.9% full in order to break even. Next up we have Delta, okay, who is at 74.2% to break even. Then Southwest, the lowest of the bunch, with 72.5% in order to break even. I've seen multiple people in my comment section saying that airlines need 85% to break even, okay? Simply not true. That is very old information back from kind of 2016, 2017 times. What I haven't seen spoken about in regards to this, okay, is that to the best of my knowledge, that is with people just buying that seat and nothing else. Before we go any further, I want to show a few things here, okay? So in North America right now, the average fare in 2019 was $202, okay? As of right now, it's going to be $289, which is a 43% increase. And do I think people will be willing to pay these prices? Yes. And this information here is as of the 5th of May. The information in regards to the break-even load factors is from March 31st. What we can say straight away is that if ticket prices are going to cost close to 50% more, we can more than likely expect that break-even load cost to come down lower. Now again, this is all assumption. We're not 100% sure yet. Nobody knows the exact numbers, but I personally would expect that to come down lower in the short term until these planes are at full capacity and ticket prices come back down. These airlines are smart, you know. The CEOs behind these airlines aren't your average person. They're very smart people who know what needs to be done in order to survive. And the other thing I want to speak about is the fact that airlines don't just make money from the seats that they sell. Say for example, I want to go on a flight with Delta Airlines, okay? So I'm going to pay my ticket fee, whatever it is. I'm going to have to buy a bag. As far as I can see, that bag is not included in the break-even load factor. That is just how many people need to buy a seat in order for these people to break even. Add a bag in there. In economy, within the United States, the first bag is $30, the second bag is $40. Let's say your flights are $250, you want to bring 2 bags, that's an extra $70 on top. That is more than 25% extra. You get on the plane, okay, and it's a short haul flight. You don't get free drinks, you don't get free snacks. You go and buy a can of Coke for $3. You buy a bag of jellies for $3. Let's say you're feeling a bit spicy. You buy a watch on the plane for $50. You buy another can, you buy a few beers. Things add up. These here are the break-even load factors, and to the best of my knowledge, correct me if I'm wrong, these only include the price of a seat on the plane. I can't find any information that states otherwise. So initially, it looks very bad, but when we think about how these airlines make extra money, it's not quite as bad. I mean, come on guys. You've all been on a plane before, and you know that by the time you buy your seat, you are going to buy a whole lot extra as well. Now we're going to have a look at the actual TSA checkpoint travel numbers. So what this can do is it can show us how many people are going through airlines now compared to how many people were going through airlines in the past. And we can see the latest information we have was for the 4th of June, okay? And there was 391,882 travelers, so very close to 400,000. Same day a week ago, okay? 2.6 million, 2.3 million, 2.2 million, 2.5 million, 2.5 million, 2.1 million. You can see that generally they were somewhere between 2.1 to 2.6 million, and right now the highest we've had is just shy of 400,000. But let's just go back in time a little bit, okay? When everything started to kick off, we can see the numbers declining very, very rapidly, falling all the way to the 90,000s, you know, hovering between 90,100, even an 87,000 day, okay? And it hung around there, and now it's starting to go back up. It really, simply put, is starting to go back up. We see 200,000 days, okay? And now we're starting to see 300,000 days. And we're approaching 400,000 days. Simply put, an awful lot more people are flying now. Still, not enough for the airlines to be making a decent amount of money. But what is also important to keep in mind right now is that there is nowhere near as many planes flying at the moment. A lot of those planes are grounded, which will obviously cost a lot less than having them flying at very low capacities. We're going to take Delta for example. Okay, this is the most up-to-date information I can find. It was as of April 23rd, okay? And Delta's 325 parked aircraft, and they're going to have 150 more to be grounded by June, okay, so this month. So that would mean Delta could have up to 475 of their planes grounded, okay? The operating expenses are obviously much lower for a parked aircraft than for one that's flying. As of June 2020, Delta operates a fleet of 840 aircrafts. So we can assume that Delta have somewhere between 365 and maybe 400 aircrafts actively flying at the moment at a loss. Now let's just take a step back for a minute, okay, because there's been a lot of information, and I just want to ask you guys, why are you investing in airline stocks? Is it because you think they're a very safe company? Is it because you think this is one of the safest places you could possibly put your money? No. If you're getting into airlines for that reason, forget about airlines, okay? I said it at the very start of this video. To me, airlines are a high risk play. The most important thing right now is having a belief that airlines aren't going bankrupt and I'm not going to lose all of my initial investment. I know Delta, for one, have cut their expenditure by over 50% as of last month. I'm sure a lot of the other airlines have followed suit. Going back to American Airlines quickly, okay? We saw an increase in demand in May. By the last week of May, the airline carried a daily average of about 110,000 customers per day, an increase over the approximately 32,000 average daily customers the airline served in April. So April 2020, the domestic schedule reduction versus same time period in 2019, 65%. Average daily passengers, 32,154. Average load factor, 15%. Our most up-to-date information, May 24th to May 2019, the domestic schedule reduction, 80%. Okay, average daily passengers, 110,000, sorry. Average load factor, 55%. Compare that to April. The average load factor has gone up nearly 400%. I think that these major airlines are doing the right thing by, you know, getting rid of international flights to places that nobody is going to go, to countries that people cannot go, and by also decreasing to an extent the amount of domestic flights they have so that they can get that average load factor up, you know, start making money, start doing some sort of business, and then people will have all the confidence in the world in them when the virus is more or less gone, when cases start going back down. If we see that there's not going to be a second wave of the virus, I think they're playing this absolutely perfectly. So now we have a little bit of an idea of how things are actually working, you know, how many more people are flying, how many people they need to fly to start making money. And now what I want to do is compare, okay, Delta, American Airlines and Southwest balance sheets to see which one I think stands the best chance at survivability, because I do still see a very real world where an airline could go bankrupt. And this is where things get interesting. So what I want to do now is I want to have a look at each of these three companies' balance sheets, and we want to have a look specifically at their cash, assets and liabilities. So we're going to start off with American Airlines, okay? And we see that cash and short-term investments are at 3.5 billion. Current assets are at 7.1 billion. Total assets are at 58.5 billion. Current liabilities at 19.2 billion. That is not a nice sight to see. And total liabilities at 61.2 billion. Again, not a nice sight to see by any means. Delta Airlines, cash. This is cash, very close to 6 billion, okay? Current assets, just over 10 billion. Total assets, 68.7 billion. Now, current liabilities, 19.3 billion. So again, quite poor, very poor. You know, it's not what we want to see at all. But their total liabilities, where are we? Are at 54.42 billion. So in the long term, these guys are definitely looking better than American Airlines, but still not in the best position. Now, Southwest Airlines, cash 3.94 billion. Total cash and short-term investments, 5.5 billion. Okay. Current assets, just over 7 billion. Total assets, 26.88 billion. Current liabilities, 10.2 billion. So the best we have seen so far. And then we have total liabilities of 17.8 billion. So again, very good. So straight off the bat, to me, Southwest and Delta look nicer than American Airlines. Now what we're having a look at is a list of the largest airlines in the world and their revenue, profit, assets, market cap, etc. So Delta, the most revenue at 44.9 billion. The most profit by a decent margin, especially in the US, at 4.1 billion. And assets, the biggest assets of 61.8 billion. American Airlines comes in a very close second in regards to revenue. But look, their profit is only at 1.4 billion. Even if we go down to Southwest Airlines, their profit was at 2.5 billion. So we can see Southwest and Delta are the most profitable airlines in the US, and this was as of January 2020. Now we go down to by passengers carried, okay, and American Airlines had the most passengers carried, but does it really mean that much if they're not making as much profit? Not particularly, not to me anyway. So if you want to be in airlines, to me at this stage, American Airlines doesn't really make very much sense. On the 6-month chart, American Airlines is still down just shy of 40%. Delta Airlines is actually down still more, they're down closer to 45%. And Southwest is leading the pack, only down close to 35%. To me, I just believe the ship has sailed in regards to American Airlines. If you're looking for the massive growth in these airlines, I also think that the ship may well have already set sail. Now, that doesn't mean that the price can't come back down and give you another opportunity to get in, but I think at this price, what's really the point? Okay, you're getting into an airline that's at $18.5. At market open, it's going to be above $20. The recent highs are only at $30. That doesn't make much sense to me. The same can be said for Delta, okay, a company who was up around the $62 mark. As of market open today, they're probably going to be around $36 to $37. You know what, it's not really a growth stock at this price. And the same goes for Southwest, okay? Definitely the ship has sailed. You're not going to make insane short-term growth off these guys anymore, but these, in my opinion, are the safest one. To me, from the start, Delta was my favourite airline. They are the biggest position in my portfolio as of right now. Reason being, they were the most profitable airline in the world. They carried the second most passengers. They were backed by Trump. Trump named Delta. I don't believe he named other airlines. They got hit very hard and they still are hit very hard. What makes them high risk is the situation that we're in, is the virus, is the fact that people aren't flying, is the scare of bankruptcy. So Delta, to me, always was the airline stock that I wanted to be involved in. Southwest, to me, is the safest US airline stock right now. And that's why they were the second airline position I opened up in, okay? To me, this is essentially a hedge, you know what I mean? If things go really poorly for Delta, at least I'm going to have some sort of money in another airline that, you know, more than likely both of these guys aren't going to go bankrupt. Do I think it is too late to buy these airline stocks? Simple answer is if it's in the short term and you don't own any position in these stocks right now, I think yes, you know what I mean? I don't think you're going to see the immense growth. Yeah, you might get 50, 60, 70%, but that could take a while. In the long term, do I still think that these companies are at good prices? When I initially started looking into Delta Airlines, the price point that I said I believe to be a good price point for a long-term investor was at $35, and that is actually the first time I purchased Delta. So from a long-term point of view, yes, I still think that these airlines have absolutely tremendous long-term potential. But if you're in it for the short term, a lot of these airlines have already gone up 80 to 100% from their recent lows. You've obviously missed out on the growth. So boom, that is it, people. That is exactly where I stand with airlines, what I think about them, what I think could happen going forwards. I know I'm always so bullish on them, so I just wanted to make you guys aware who, you know, may be taking some influence from my choices. Please be fully aware of the risk. And please remember, I'm not a financial advisor. Always go out and do your own research and form your own opinions. I mean, we're looking at another green day today, more than likely. I think a lot of the future of airlines depends on the future of the world, the future of economies, and what happens next. You know, a lot of countries are opening back up. A lot more places are taking flights now. If we start to see, you know, rises in case numbers going up relatively soon, it's not going to paint a pretty picture for these airlines. And just as quickly as we have all made, you know, 50 to 100%, we could lose it at the snap of our fingers, guys. So please be very careful. But again, thank you all so much for the support as of late. It genuinely means the world to me. I appreciate you all so much. I hope you have an absolutely fantastic day. I will catch you for tomorrow's video. Peace.